Today we are at the ICF build. For those of you who do not know what ICF is, it's insulated concrete form. Essentially you got about 3 inches of insulation on the outside's foam. And then you have a thermal mass of concrete, 6 inches. These plastic webbing sections hold the rebar. These little barbs right here, they kind of click together and it keeps them from coming apart. And then every other course for this build specifically requires rebar every other course as you build up, and it's continuous all the way around. This is the house we are currently building. It's about 4,800 square foot house, 10-foot walls in the living, 14-foot walls in the garage. This specific block is 12 inches thick. So we got 6 inches of concrete and about 3 inches of foam on either side. So these are the ICF blocks we use for the house. Let's go to the house. So as you walk in the front door, you may notice initially 12 inches thick. It's normal, obviously. We got wood bucks. We had an option to either build my own bucks or have foam bucks. I like this option better. You have something to screw to. Same with all the windows. Basically just pre-built a massive buck and just cut it however long we needed it. With trades, they basically just cut out the 3 inches of foam and put all of their plumbing in, electrical in. It kind of works similar to a traditional stick built home, except you have a stud every 8 inches on center. So you can opt for the 16 inches or the 24 inches to screw anything to. Really good option. So as you walk down the hallway here, you got your main bath, guest bath, bedroom 1, bedroom 2, and then the master here. Everything is pretty much done traditionally interior. The exterior walls are the only thing that's changed. You just have to be really sure where you want your window placements, window sizes. Changing it smaller is not hard, but making it bigger is very difficult. So that's the one thing you should be really on top of when you construct the ICF build. For all of our penetrations, we just basically got a roto hammer, drilled any kind of hole we needed. This is a service loop for an aqua faucet that we use throughout this house. We got one here, one over there, and one by the kitchen. Electrical penetration is the same thing. Small roto hammer bit, super easy to get out, and running through this foam is not a problem at all. Something that we found to work very easily for electrical primarily is a Milwaukee mini chainsaw. And you basically just set a limiter on it and just start going. Cutting through the foam isn't a problem, but cutting through the ICF plastic studs, that's where you start to slow down. So another option would be a hot knife, but again, with the hot knife, going through those stronghold braces will be a little bit difficult and it takes a little bit long. We got a garage here, it's 2,000 square feet, 14-foot ceilings. Again, same ICF block all the way through. These walls are just taller by 4 courses. So this is that tool that we've been using. It's basically like a little mini chainsaw, and we basically tap in this little screw here to give us like a depth limiter. And as you plunge it into the foam, it creates a perfect little track to shove a wire in. It seems to be the fastest option for us. So he just runs a line and just pushes it in and gets outlet to outlet. So the really neat thing about ICF is basically all the cool features. So we have a 4-hour firewall just by default. We don't have to work for it, it just is there. It's really good with natural disasters, so flooding, because it's a solid core, like tornadoes or any high winds, really good. You look up in the rafters, we wet set these brackets that hold all the trusses, and they go down about 16 inches into the concrete. And so when we set the trusses, we set it right down in the brackets. Tico nailed it in, and they're solid. They're not going anywhere. And so we didn't put it on a green plate, it's just sitting on a metal bracket. So as we come to the garage door, a big worry we had was how to properly brace the tracks and the spring and the motors. So we decided to go for screwing 2x4s vertically along where the tracks were gonna run and then where the spring was gonna be run. And it's braced at the ceiling and along the butt. So it's gonna be really strong. We don't have to mount through the stronghold because that wouldn't hold it. And so it's gonna be a really strong option, and it definitely mitigated our worries. We're gonna leave these details when we do sheetrock. So we're gonna sheetrock right up to the 2x4 and we'll just paint over. It's gonna look really nice. Our typical insulation standard is bibs, blow-in blanket insulation. Typically it's done in the walls, and we don't have a lot of exterior walls to insulate. So we can't blow in this ceiling because it's too short. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do batt insulation up there, and it'll be an R49 or better. And we'll just do probably R38 on the walls because we're doing ICF, so why not? So with ICF block already installed, we have all of our insulation downstairs, R26. All we have left to insulate is just up here. So we have the lid, the walls, and the attic space, the crawl space. We're gonna use batt insulation for the walls and the lid, and then in the crawl space, we're gonna do a blow-in cellulose insulation. This house doesn't have any natural gas or propane, so the whole heating source and everything is run electrically. So this is a hybrid heat pump water heater. It's vented to the outside, so cool air doesn't blast in this room. And everything else is electric. So washer, dryer, HVAC, stove, everything's electric. So still gonna be a really efficient house. It's not gonna take much to heat it because it's such a tight envelope and it's so well insulated. So it's gonna be a really efficient, comfortable, clean house. Traditionally with building a house, you have foundation, you have framing, you have insulation. With ICF, we were able to accomplish all three of those things at one time. That is why I see ICF being a huge advantage in building.